Hi there, I'm Chelsea Graybars from Beckett Dental Care, and today I'm going to be reading Margaret and H.A. Ray's Curious George Visits the Dentist in celebration of Children's Dental Health Month. Here we go. George was a good little monkey and always very curious. When he visited his neighbor, Mrs. Ross, he was especially curious about her gleaming basket of fruit. That bright red apple on top looked too perfect to be true. And it was. George bit into it and discovered it was hard and sticky and not sweet. "Oh dear," said Mrs. Ross. "That's not a real apple, George. It's made of wax." George's tooth began to hurt. "You should always ask before eating something, George," the man with the yellow hat reminded him. By the time he went to bed that evening, George's tooth was less sore, but the next morning his tooth was wobbly. His mouth felt so strange that George couldn't even enjoy his favorite pancake breakfast. "We should see the dentist, George," the man said. "She can make sure that that tooth of yours is all right." The man explained that the dentist was a doctor for teeth, but George didn't want anyone to touch his tooth. What if it hurt? George walked along the path to the dentist's office with his friend, his steps getting slower and slower until he ran off to pick a daisy. "That's very pretty," the man said, chasing after George, "but we have an appointment and we shouldn't be late. You'll be a good little monkey, won't you?" George nodded. He always wanted to be good. The waiting room was a welcoming place. There were lots of things to see and do. One by one, the young patients were called away by a woman in a white suit. George watched them go through a red door, each holding on to a grown-up's hand. One frightened boy was carried in by his mother. George was glad he wouldn't have to see the dentist by himself. "George, you're next," the woman announced. George was sad to put down his book, but he was also a little curious about where the children were going. Was there a play area on the other side? The examining room was not filled with toys, but it was still interesting. There was a sink and a long chair for lying down. There was a stool for the dentist and a light above the chair. George was curious. Why were there two faucets in the room? "Hello, George. I'm Dr. Wang. It's nice to meet you," she said. "Why don't you lie down and we'll take a look at your teeth?" George saw a row of silver dental exam tools on the counter. They were long, shiny, and pointy. He hid behind the man. "George, would you like me to try out the chair first?" the man asked. "Great idea," said Dr. Wang. The man lay down. "Open your mouth wide." The dentist shined a big light down into the man's mouth. She took out a small white instrument to take a closer look at each tooth. "This is a mouth mirror." George watched. It didn't look too scary. "Next, I'll count the teeth," Dr. Wang told George. She picked up one of those sharp, pointy tools. "This is an explorer. 1, 2, 3, 4. The man then exclaimed, "Ow!" "Uh-oh," the dentist said. George ran away. He left the room and scurried down the hall. There were many doors. He didn't know which was the way out. He tried one door and walked into another exam room. "A monkey!" a little girl cried and jumped off the exam chair in excitement as George backed out of the room. He continued down the hall, opening doors and disturbing patients. In one room, a scared little boy from the reception area was crying. George had an idea. He jumped onto the table and began juggling packs of dental floss. The little boy stopped crying and smiled. Next, George leaped over the sink in the middle of the room. He pushed a button and the nearby water jet spurted, spraying water all around the room. George squirted water into his own mouth and into the boy's mouth too. Next, George decided to switch on the overhead lamp. But the lamp tumbled over, spilling George safely onto the floor. The boy clapped. But uh-oh, Dr. Wang stood in the doorway. "George, you naughty monkey," Dr. Wang said. "What a mess you've made." The monkey was the only one that could get Tyler to stop crying, the boy's mother said. Dr. Wang considered. She said, "It does look like we have some eager young patients. And if it weren't for you, George, I wouldn't have found the cavity in your friend's mouth." "It turns out I need to have a filling," the man with the yellow hat said. "Come on, George, let's both go get our teeth checked." As soon as Dr. Wang looked into George's mouth, she laughed. "Why, George, all you have is a loose tooth." A loose tooth sounded worrisome to George. "It's going to fall out soon. There's a new permanent tooth right behind it. It looks like you've been doing a good job of brushing your teeth." George jumped on his chair. He did. He brushed every night and morning. Keep brushing and don't eat too many sweets, the dentist reminded him. You want your teeth to be in good shape for the tooth fairy. George waved goodbye to his friends. He went home with a new toothbrush, some dental floss, and instructions for his loose tooth. He should bite into as many hard apples as he could, as long as they were real, of course. He decided he didn't mind going to the dentist at all. That night he ate a healthy dinner with an apple for dessert. His tooth fell out with the second bite. He put his tooth under his pillow. The next morning, George found a special coin in the tooth's place. When Mrs. Ross came to check on George that afternoon, George proudly showed her his coin from the tooth fairy. Mrs. Ross laughed and said, "Well, that's a quick way to lose a tooth, but I don't recommend it for next time." Oh. Well, that's all. Thanks for joining me.
Hi everybody, it's Miss Mary from Midpoint, and I'm so excited that we get to share a story with you and Dr. Chelsea. I think it's going to be pretty cool. You see my big smile? It's not quite perfect, but it's a pretty good smile. You know why? Because I go to the dentist. I go to the dentist every 6 months, but I got to tell you, the first time I went, I was a little scared because I wasn't sure what to expect. You know, because, well, when I was a little kid, Dr. Chelsea wasn't a dentist yet, so I didn't get this cool video like you're getting. But I have a story to share with you. You know, the first time you do something can be scary, and this is a story about Maisy and Charley and the wobbly tooth. It was written for us by Lucy Cousins, and I think you'll find that it tells us a lot about what to expect the first time. Maisy, Charley, and the wobbly tooth. Today was Charley's first visit to the dentist. He had a wobbly tooth, and he was a little nervous. So all of his friends went with him. There was a lot to do in the waiting room. Now I'm going to tell you, this book was written at a different time. There might not be a whole lot of fun toys in the waiting room right now. But soon it was time to see Dr. Bite-Right. Maisy held Charley's hand. Dr. Bite-Right was very nice. He showed Charley the special dentist's chair. It went up and down and around, and he could lay straight back like a bed. Charley opened his mouth as wide as he could. Can you do that? Open your mouth really big. Real big, huh? So Dr. Bite-Right could look inside. My Charley, what a lot of teeth you have. And what good teeth. Dr. Bite-Right said the wobbly tooth was a baby tooth, and it was about ready to fall out. A new tooth would soon grow in its place. Then Nurse Sparkle took an X-ray picture of Charley's teeth. Smile, Charley. Everybody smile with Charley. There you go. Charley and Maisy learned how to brush their teeth. Up and down, front and back. Front, back, up, down, over and over. Then Charley rinsed and spit and rinsed and spit again. Looks kind of yucky, doesn't it? But, you know, you gotta do it. His teeth were dazzling. That means very bright. Dr. Bite-Right gave Charley a smiley badge and a book about teeth. I never got a book about teeth when I was. Thank you, Dr. Bite-Right. Goodbye. At bedtime, Charley brushed his teeth very carefully, up and down, front and back. Pop! Out came the wibbly wobbly tooth. Pop! Hooray! Now the tooth fairy will come. Good night, Charley. Isn't that a fun story? Maisy, Charley, and the wobbly tooth. You know, one of the things that I really like about that story is that Charley got to visit the dentist and got to learn all about what it's like being at the dentist. About the x-ray, that's the picture they can take of the inside of your mouth so you can see what all your teeth look like. And about learning how to brush and rinsing and spitting. Oh, it's so much fun. It's really cool. I got to tell you, I really like going to the dentist because I like that very clean feeling that my teeth have. And when I have a sore tooth that's hurting me, I like that the dentist can fix it and make it better. Well, thanks, Dr. Chelsea, for inviting us at Midpoint to join you for some stories. And oh, what a great thing you're doing for us and teaching us about. Thanks, Dr. Chelsea. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. How are you? It's Miss Kim from Midpoint Library. I am so glad you could make it to Storytime today because we have something we need to celebrate. It is February, and February is National Children's Dental Health Month. So we are going to talk all about our teeth. Are you ready to get started? We have 2 books, and of course we have a Take 5 with Shakespeare. Here we go. All right, this first book is called Brush Your Teeth. So we have someone on here, and of course they are taking care of their teeth. We need healthy teeth so we can grow and stay well. We use our teeth to bite and chew food. Teeth also help us talk and smile. Teeth start growing under our gums, so your gums, before you are born. Children usually have about 20 teeth. 20 teeth. Baby teeth fall out to make room for adult teeth. Most adults have 32 teeth. Have you lost any baby teeth? Teeth are hard like bones, yet teeth don't heal the same way that bones do. That's why oral hygiene is so very important. So we see an x-ray over here. Have you ever had x-rays? If you get an x-ray, you have probably been to the dentist. Brushing keeps teeth free of plaque. This is a soft, sticky coating. Plaque causes cavities. Brushing also helps gums stay healthy. So we need our gums to stay healthy as well as our teeth. Look, he is at the dentist office. Have you been to the dentist? I really like going to the dentist. Dentists often say to brush at least twice a day. Many people brush when they wake up. They brush again before they go to bed. How often do you brush your teeth? Don't rush. Brush for 2 to 3 minutes. Some people even set a timer. Others brush and they sing a song. I wonder if she has a timer set or if maybe she's singing a song while she brushes her teeth. Brush in short strokes. We move back and forth, then up and down. Reach behind your front teeth too. We got to get the backs of our teeth as well as the fronts. Afterwards, rinse your mouth and toothbrush. It's good to get a new toothbrush every 3 to 4 months. Brushing your teeth means more than having a bright smile. It's about supporting good hygiene and having a healthy body. What are some other healthy habits that we have? Maybe the food that we eat should be healthy, right? What else do you do? Well, all right, time to take 5 with Shakespeare. I'm so excited for this one. I want you to notice, what is this fairy up here? She even has teeth on her crown and a little jar of teeth. What is she called? All right, so this Take 5 is, of course, all about teeth. lots of different kind of things about teeth. We are going to do the true or false. So if it's true, we give a thumbs up. If it's false, we give a thumbs down. Are you ready to get started? Number 1. Dentists recommend we brush our teeth 2 times a day for 2 minutes. True or false? That's true. We read that in our book we just went through, didn't we? Dentists recommend 2 times a day for 2 minutes to keep our teeth and our gums healthy. And remember, you got to brush the fronts and the backs. Number 2. Sugar in candy or soda does not hurt our teeth. True or false? Well, that's false. Too much sugar in our diet can lead to poor dental health. So look at that poor little tooth. He's getting sad because he's had too many sweets. I like sweets, but we have to be careful not to have too many, right? Number 3. Our teeth's only job is to help us eat and chew our food. Is that the only thing we use our teeth for? True or false? They only have one job. Well, that's false. Teeth do help us eat our food, but they also help us when we talk. All right, I have something I want you guys to try. Try saying the number 3. Did your teeth help you say that? Let's do it again. We're going to say the number 1, 2, 3. I did use my teeth. And look, if they help us when we talk, talking leads to reading, playing, singing, all kinds of things. So we use those things a lot. They're very helpful. All right, number 4. Fluoride helps prevent tooth decay. True. Fluoride is effective in preventing tooth decay and can be found in our tap water or your toothpaste. So just by brushing with your toothpaste, you're getting fluoride on your teeth, which helps keep them clean. Great. I had to throw this one in here. Number 5. This is a fun trivia. Snails have the most teeth of any animals. True or false? That is true. A garden snail has about 14,000 teeth. Its teeth are arranged in rows on its tongue. So, do you see his mouth in there? This is a picture over here of that all blown up so we can see all the teeth. And did you hear when I said his teeth are on his tongue, arranged in rows? 14,000, that's a lot of teeth. We did it. We did a really good job. And we found out a lot of neat things, a lot of helpful tips, didn't we? All right, the next book is really funny, and I'm excited to share it with you. All right, this next book is called The Tooth Fairy Wars. What? What are they fighting about? This book is written by Kate Coombs. Now, the Tooth Fairy, she has a job, right? Sometimes if you lose a tooth, you might place it under your pillow, and then it is the Tooth Fairy's job to come and pick that up, right? Seems like this is not what they want. Something's going wrong in this, okay? So let's get started with the book. We're going to find out. When Nathan lost his first tooth, his mother told him to put it under his pillow. The Tooth Fairy will come and get it, and she'll leave you $1. He's looking at his tooth. He's like, what? I don't want to, said Nathan. It's my tooth, and I'm going to keep it forever. His his mom said. "I guess that's okay." Nathan put his tooth in a plastic bag and then into his sock drawer. It looks like she found it. Do you see right here? The Tooth Fairy found it anyway. She was very good at her job. The Tooth Fairy took Nathan's tooth out of the baggie, opened her briefcase, and tucked it inside. She left $1 behind for Nathan. In the morning, Nathan was not happy. "It was my tooth," he said. "Well, I'm sorry, honey," said his mom. "I guess you'll have to hide the next one better." "The next one?" Nathan said, asked worried. Sure enough, a month later, another tooth fell out. When Nathan bit into his peanut butter sandwich, he hid the tooth inside a fort guarded by army men. The Tooth Fairy wasn't afraid. In no time flat, she had traded Nathan's tooth for $1. So, the fort and the army men, she still got the tooth. When Nathan found the tooth gone, he growled like a bulldog. He made a better plan when the third tooth fell out. That night, after a quick search of Nathan's bedroom, the Tooth Fairy took out her super tooth sensomatic and scanned the house. She found Nathan's hiding place in the garage, behind some oil cans. She said to herself as she hurried away to her next stop. Nathan showed the $1 to his mom. "Again," she sighed. "Why don't you just try asking her nicely?" So when Nathan lost a fourth tooth, he wrote the Tooth Fairy a letter. While Nathan slept, the Tooth Fairy came. She read his letter carefully. Then she took the tooth anyway. She left behind $1, along with a form letter from her briefcase. Dear Human Child, according to Regulation 8439H, Paragraph 7, should the dentitious relinquisher object to said transaction, he or she shall be referred to Office 11 of the Tertiary Fay Division of Rates and Exchanges, 15th League of Enchanted Commerce. There, he or she may fill out Form R8, titled Petition to Retain Baby Tooth, listing his or her reasons for requesting an exception to the policy, after which an adjudication hearing shall be held within 25,990 years to decide the case. Sincerely, T. Fairy. 25,990 years, Nathan squawked. That's a long time. Nathan hid his next tooth inside a carton full of eggs. The Tooth Fairy found it. Nathan buried a tooth under the marigolds in the garden. She got that one too. He left another tooth at his best friend Danny's house and put out a cat's tooth he found instead. Is that going to trick her? The Tooth Fairy lost her temper that night. It took her a long time, but she tracked down Nathan's tooth. She went over to his friend's house. Nathan tried bribing her. That didn't work. Dear Human Child, it is strictly against Regulation 6120Q, Paragraph 3, to attempt to bribe an officer of the 15th League of Enchanted Commerce. Please cease and desist at once. Gravely, T. Fairy. Nope, Nathan said. The next time Nathan lost a tooth, he borrowed his cousin's tarantula. He painted the tooth gray and hid it in the rocks at the bottom of the tarantula tank. Nathan smeared the top of the tank with honey. Then he sprinkled itching powder all over the honey and put up some signs. Take good care of my tooth, Fred, Nathan told the tarantula as he turned out the light. Do not enter. Beware. Danger. Angry spider lives here. When the Tooth Fairy came, she read the signs. She took one look at Fred and turned pale. She sniffed the powdered goo. "Oh my," she said. The Tooth Fairy did not take Nathan's tooth. She did not leave $1. She left a handwritten note instead. "Young man, that is not nice. I am taking a vacation as of tomorrow. The 15th League of Enchanted Commerce will no doubt be sending a substitute entity. It is my fervent hope that this individual will be treated with the proper respect when he or she visits your household. Grimly, T. Fairy." Nathan showed the letter to Danny. "I won," he yelled. "What about the substitute?" Danny asked. "Oh, I'll have to get ready," said Nathan. The 15th League of Enchanted Commerce got ready too. They sent a whole team of tooth experts to Nathan's house. Oh my goodness. Poor tooth experts. They tried their best, but it did not go so well. Look, he's smiling. He set traps for them. The next night, while everyone else in the house was fast asleep, an official delegation came to see Nathan. The visitors presented him with a special certificate of exemption and with the contents of storage unit 329Z-18 from the dental department. 15th League of Enchanted Commerce, every single one of his lost teeth. "Thanks," said Nathan. "I'll keep them forever." Well, what's the Tooth Fairy gonna do? And he did. He kept them forever. And what is the Tooth Fairy doing? Looks like she's relaxing, right? Well, he got his teeth. I hope he's happy. Well, I hope you guys have a really good day. I hope you have a really good month, and I hope you learn a lot of great things so we can all have really good dental health. Until next time, keep reading. Goodbye.